Coming up in this video, ladies and gentlemen, we got to talk about a new AEW signing that's kind of been kept a secret, I guess. Also, we got to talk about the future of WWE plans that have been canceled. And yes, we are going to talk about new debuts for WWE, probably NXT. And as always, if you guys want more videos like this, don't forget to click that subscribe button, ring that bell. This way you get notified all the time. Let's kick things off with these two, Ango and Mike DiVecchio. Now, you might remember a couple months ago, we talked about this in video, that there was a report that they were joining the WWE. And a lot of people were curious as to when or how or what. But ladies and gentlemen, we don't know about NXT Europe happening. So what exactly is the plan here? And that's where things are getting really interesting, because we don't think NXT Europe is happening, but they just said their goodbye at WXW, which is crazy. So WXW Germany, you guys know this is a very big indie promotion. And out in Europe, Mike DiVecchio and of course, Ango, these are two people that we have heard a lot about. We've seen a lot. These reports are coming that they're coming to WWE. The understanding was, hey, they're probably being signed because of NXT Europe, especially because there's so many talents that are expected. But since they're not doing NXT Europe, maybe they're going to be coming here. I don't know. They just did the event. And at this point, it sounds like Mike DiVecchio and Ango are coming to WWE NXT. Unless anything changes and WWE just randomly surprises us all, I'm assuming they're just going to NXT, which is why this is so crazy and confusing to me. And really, if we talk about NXT Europe just slightly, why is there such a weird thing about this? It gets talked about, it then doesn't get talked about, then it gets talked about again. Shawn Michaels says they'll provide updates. We don't get updates. And then this week we get reports that nobody in WWE is talking about it. I don't know, but I will say this. If you watch my live streams this past week, I have been very fair to NXT, and I've been very, critical of the main event division. Maybe this is what we need, man. Maybe we need some more talents coming to NXT that bring some fresh blood, because Obafemi as world champion, as cool as it is and as good as he is, it is starting to get a little bit annoying that I don't feel as if maybe we have some top contenders for the top belt, making it feel like maybe Obafemi will be unbeatable. I'm not sure, but it is definitely confusing. It is definitely infuriating, because NXT is such a great show, but the main event storylines just don't really ooze anything important right now. And honestly, I kind of hate that. If I'm being honest, I really do. That brings us to our next topic. Guys, we got to talk about it. WWE Crown Jewel, these really insanely looking belts, the Crown Jewel championships. Well, it sounds like WWE is not moving forward with that. At least according to a new report from bodyslam.net, WWE has no current plans to feature Crown Jewel championship defenses at the 2025 Crown Jewel Premium Live event, which is set for October 11th at the RAC Arena in Perth, Australia. Now, the show is expected to have big time matches, but Cody Rhodes, Liv Morgan, they won the Crown Jewel championships last year. We were under the impression this was going to happen, where these belts would be a yearly thing at Crown Jewel. And then this year, the Crown Jewel PLE wasn't announced for Saudi Arabia, but instead it was announced for Australia. And maybe that's what this has to do with. Maybe these belts were specifically done because it's a thing for Saudi Arabia Crown Jewel. But I actually like the concept of champion versus champion competing for the Crown Jewel belt. And it's more of like a bragging rights thing, it's, especially in today's day and age with Cody Rhodes being WWE champion and Seth Rollins being the world heavyweight champion. I almost feel like that would be a really fun main event match. And then of course, Tiffany Stratton going up against Naomi, which we don't really know what's happening with Naomi anyways, but I feel like it would have been really cool to see this. I'm actually a little bummed about it. We don't get Survivor Series brand versus brand. We don't get Night of Champions where it's champion versus champion. We're not really getting this brand warfare, but at least with this Crown Jewel championship idea, it's like a way of having the top champion, for both titles. I don't know. To me, it's just a little bit of a bummer. I'm not going to lie. And I really don't know why. And I feel like WWE had to know that they weren't going to bring Crown Jewel to Saudi Arabia. Like, I feel like they would have had to known in advance that they were probably going to put it in Australia. That's the only conclusive thing I could think of that would be conclusive, is like they really didn't have planned, like they didn't know they were going to do Australia Crown Jewel, and then that's why. But it's such a strange situation. And by the way, Cody and Seth, I understand it's a match we saw several times, but looking at the dynamics of their characters, it's really, really hard to say why they're not doing it. And maybe it's a booking thing too, because you want to protect Seth and you want to protect Cody. I understand the challenges of it, but I just think those are some big marquee matches. And then especially with Naomi, we don't know if she's going to be holding the world heavyweight, well, the world women's championship. But even the idea of her and Stratton, like, it would have been fun. So I don't know, just a very strange situation. And that brings us to our final topic. Ladies and gentlemen, AEW secretly signed former WCW star Scotty Riggs. I don't know why this hasn't really been talked about. On a recent episode of The False Finish with Conrad Thompson, former WCW star Scotty Riggs shared a deeply personal story, basically ending it all to finding a sense of purpose while working with AEW. And I don't know, nobody's come out and talked about this. Nobody's made videos. I haven't seen anybody talk about Scotty Riggs being signed by AEW. But he said it. He said, I was going to end my life. And he just had a lot of mental and physical exhaustion. And there was just a lot of stuff going on in his personal life. And then, you know, taking pills and just so much. As I read it and listen to it, it's just really crazy. But he signed with AEW. He got a former call from Buff Bagwell. And basically, that kind of changed everything. AEW brought him in. As you guys know, Scotty Riggs, his whole journey was kind of documented with DDP, the Diamond Dallas Page, the yoga stuff. And yeah, I guess DDP made some calls. Tony Khan brought him in. He understood the story and he wanted to bring him in. So now he works behind the scenes with AEW. He says that he does some stuff like driving guys around, helping some matches, coaching things, being a little bit of everything. So it doesn't sound like he has like a true role in the company. He just does a lot of cool stuff. And I think that's pretty sweet. And listen, I'm going to say this. I say this all the time. The best thing wrestling companies could do is hiring veterans. The veterans of the business who no longer could work, they can go through pills and drugs and go through a total decline, or they could be part of the business, be healthy, be clean, and contribute, even though they cannot physically wrestle anymore. In this day and age, I think that would be really cool to take advantage of, because these are people who actually were on the road and actually understood the business. So definitely something to think about. But Scotty Riggs is technically all elite.